It's Ultimate Combat Radio with your host, Mike Stidham on 1280 and 97.5. The Zone, brought to you by Aztec Highway, WDFA.
All right, take it.
Welcome to Ultimate Combat Radio, Utah's only all-mixed martial arts radio show. Mike Stidham here bringing you the latest in the world of mixed martial arts. And we're actually doing this live from Leatherheads in Draper. And if you haven't been out to Leatherheads before, it's pretty dang awesome. It's a pretty cool sports bar, and we just had some burgers, and I highly recommend the Leatherhead burger. It's pretty super awesome. Now, this is an all-ages venue. It's a restaurant, but they got a full bar here, and they're going to be showing the UFC fights tonight. So, Brandon Kiser, this is the place to be to watch the heavyweight clash of the century.
It is. There's not a bad seat in the house. There's a lot of space here. There's awesome flat-screen TVs everywhere you look. It'll be a great place to watch the fights.
Yeah, and look, man, if you have a few too many, just stumble on over to the Ultimate Combat Training Center. We'll find a place for you on the mat. You can sleep there.
Can we wrestle there?
Why not? Let's do it. Let's get. In fact, we got the big gold gloves. Let's go over there and just pound the crap out of each other after this thing's over with.
Some of my greatest memories of the MMA world started just like that. I'll just leave it at that.
Well, let's just leave it at that. All right. Well, coming up next segment on the show here, we've got a couple, not just one, but two participants in the upcoming WCFC Last Man Standing event taking place January 20th at UVU in Orem. And there's a guy that I know you know a little bit about, Brandon. In fact, I think you might even be working his corner. He's fighting in the welterweight division. He's former Tough Cast member Casey Uscola.
Yep, me and Casey go way back, man. I'm excited to see him get back in the cage and see how this 8-man tournament goes. I think that this format fits his style well because he gasses out all the time. So.
Yeah, so he's going to go one round really well?
Yeah, that's what I suspect.
Well, you know, the thing is, though, you got to win 3 of those, though. So gassing out may not be...
I think he'll recover in between fights. That's my prediction.
All right, well, now, for those of you who don't know Casey, he's a longtime friend of Ultimate Combat. Now, in fact, he's provided Utah fight fans with some of the best memories. I don't think, talk about, his matchup with Hank Weiss and some of the things that, just knocking out Maniac, but really, he's the first legitimate Ultimate Combat world champion. We went down to Antigua one time, and I know you didn't get to go with us, but it was awesome. We went down there and brought a bunch of light heavies from all over the country. And in fact, there was one guy from the Caribbean there as well, and Casey Uscola walked through the competition and came back with a belt.
That is back when I was married and miserable, and still hearing stories about Antigua. I hope we have another one of those someday.
What I'm kind of excited about is now Casey's coming off a shoulder injury, and he's got a little bit of a chip on his shoulder, no pun intended, because he's coming off a loss to a guy that he thinks he's much better than, Jerome Hatch. And so he feels like he has a little bit to maybe prove down here to the Utah folks.
Yeah, is Jerome Hatch in that tournament?
No, he's not. But, it's in Jerome's backyard. It's down there at UVU, and I just think Casey feels like he has something to prove.
I'm pretty sure we all believe that he's much better than Jerome Hatch. Jerome should have never won that fight.
You know what? I will never say that again, man. I've said that about the last 3 fighters Jerome's fought, and I'm not going to say it again. All right, also joining us on the program, a guy that hasn't always been a big fan of the Ultimate Combat, a guy named Ty Lee. In fact, he's been very vocal at times about his displeasure with the UCE, but he's also come correct on a couple of occasions and said, all right, maybe I was wrong or whatever. But I respect the guy because he's not one of those guys that talks bad about you behind your back. He'll say it to your face, and has done that. He's come on the show and come on my web forum and said what he's thought. And so I'll always respect him for that. He's got a very, very tough road to hoe in this tournament. He's got some very, very tough guys in the division. But Ty Lee is a guy that's not afraid of anybody, thinks he can beat Brock Lesnar. And when I say that, he really thinks he can beat Brock Lesnar. And so he thinks he's got a chance at winning this.
And sorry. Every time I hear about a new guy being on our show, I get more and more excited because this tournament just keeps stacking up. The heavyweight tournament is stacked. The welterweight tournament is stacked. I didn't know Casey Uscola was in it.
I was going to ask. So Ty Lee is a heavyweight.
Ty Lee's a heavyweight. Okay, yeah. So we've got one from each division.
So Ty Lee going up against guys like Jack May and.
Yeah, and he's going against those guys, man. So he's got his hands full. Now, a segment we've really enjoyed putting together for you over the last several weeks is our Badass of the Week. And there's some pretty solid company that these guys that are winning Badass of the Week are going in with, not to the least of which not the cop that was holding a girl's hand under a bus, but Jeff Monson, some of that ilk. But today, we've got a kid who is a wrestler at Alta High School, and I'm kind of privy to the Alta High wrestling squad. My son wrestles there, and I've kind of grown to love this little group of guys. Well, one of them has kind of risen to the top of the group there. He's been selected to be on the 5A All-Star Wrestling team. He's got an 18-2 record this year in the first half of the season. He's joining us on the program right now. Gavin Godfrey, how you doing, my man?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Well, you know, Gavin, I am not doing too bad. Now, what do you feel like there's some pressure on your shoulders? You're representing not only the team, but the entire 5A in this tournament. Do you feel some pressure going on there?
No, because I feel like I'm ready to go in this tournament. I feel like I've prepared enough to wrestle this kid. It'll be a hard match, but I'm so ready.
Who are you wrestling?
I forgot his name.
Some guy.
Some guy from Millard.
Some guy that's going to be in my lost column when I'm done with him, right?
Hopefully.
Okay, so now this is even bigger in many ways than the state championship, because you've been selected to this all-star team means the prognosticators are saying you're the guy in the 5A division. We expect you're going to win that. But now you're going against the guys in the other classifications. Is it bigger to you, or does it compare?
Yeah, I think it's a lot bigger because it's taking the best kids from each A to like wrestle in this duel. So.
Yeah, you know, and I don't know, for those who are listening, if you're not familiar with what I'm talking about, there are different classifications for the small schools that are in rural Utah. There's 1A, and then there's 2A and 3A, and then the biggest being these big mega schools up here in like Alta. They get 100 kids out for the program. They're not even 100 kids in the graduating class at some of these other schools. But these small town schools produce just these guys are wrestling bulls when they're little, you know. So you know, sometimes it's a challenge for these guys from these big schools. These kids have been wrestling since they were the size of, you know, a rodent, and you know, you're going up against them. I understand you started wrestling just 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So I mean, how do you feel like you're going to stack up against this guy who's probably been wrestling all his life?
I don't know. I've just worked my butt off the last 5 years to get ready for this. So
that was my next question. How did you get so dang tough in 5 years? That's really, I mean, a lot of these guys have been doing most of it. How did you get so dang tough that quick?
I wrestled so many state champs in our room. Like, we had Carson Kuhn is a 3-time state champ. Mark Michaels is a 2-time state champ. So I wrestled them my whole career.
I got you. Every day you were going up against the best of the best.
What got you into wrestling?
My uncle. My uncle's a state champ, and my dad wrestled. They all did that when they were little.
So did they just tell you should just go to school and wrestle, or did they start like in the garage gym with you, or?
No, like my big brother wrestled because he graduated in 2007. He got third in state, and so that's what I wanted to do.
You probably grew up wrestling him.
Yeah.
I remember your uncle, man. He was pretty dang tough.
Yeah.
Tough kid. Went to Brighton, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
What are your aspirations for wrestling? I mean, is this a stepping stone into a possible MMA career, or is wrestling just what it is for you, or?
I would love to go into MMA. I'd be down to. I'm kind of deciding whether to go to like college to wrestle, or I don't know.
Go to college and wrestle. That's my suggestion.
Yeah.
If you got the opportunity, do it. You know, and really, college wrestling is like a trade school for MMA. If that's something you aspire to do, it's one thing to come out of high school as a good solid wrestler, as a state champion wrestler, but just like you just said. College wrestling, they're all state champions, and every day for 4 years you'll be wrestling against state champions. And you think you've improved over the last 5 years. Add another 4 to that, and imagine where you're going to be.
Yeah.
So is MMA something that is on the horizon above and beyond wrestling?
Yeah, I'd be so down to do that. I just love brawling and getting those hard times in the gym, and I don't know.
It's awesome. Well, you know, it takes a special breed, and that's why it's such a natural progression for wrestlers to go in MMA, because it's the same sport in many ways. The training regimen is the same, you know, and so you're not foreign. It's not foreign to you when you step into that cage. Well, now let's talk about the big match. Well, first of all, you were 130 last year. You're gaining 22 pounds. You're going up against a lot bigger guys. How has that worked out for you this year?
It's been tough. Just trying to get like more power in my stance and everything, and just like trying to react to like the bigger guys. It's tough.
A different ball game, isn't it?
It's a lot different.
So do you feel like this year it's kind of almost starting over in a way, because the way a 130-pounder wrestlers is not the same the way 150. So you had to start over in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I had to get stronger. I had to work on my technique a lot more to get like those angles down on everything, and so.
And you got to say that you've got a heck of a coaching staff over there at Alta that's able to help you make that acclimation, right?
Yeah, Coach Harrington and Coach Watts and Aaron and all them and Woody, they all have helped me so much through the summer. And
and there's a reason there are 3-time state champions and, guys on the All-Star team. There's 3 of you from your team on this All-Star team, right?
There's 2.
And there's a reason for that. These guys have a great program. So, hey, I want to thank you, Gavin, for coming on the show because this is the future of mixed martial arts. This is what maybe we'll be talking to you one day after you're getting ready for a UFC match. So thanks for coming on the show, and best of luck. Kick some ass in that tournament.
Thank you.
All right, buddy. Good stuff, man. And this is, again, good-looking kid, solid kid, articulate. Those are the kind of guys that I think are the future of this sport.
Yeah, without a doubt.
So just a heads up that the All-Star Duels is January 9th at UVU. If you want to go down and check it out, we're going to be down there yelling our butts off for old Gavin there. But you're going to see the best wrestlers in the state of Utah from all classifications, and it's going down on the 9th. I think it's a Monday.
So is the winner of this the state champ?
No, what this is this is in mid-season. And so what they've done is they've projected him as the top 5A representative, and so he's going up against what they do is I think they do 1A and 3A against 2A, and I don't know how they do, but they split it up that way. And so it's just kind of something, there's no guarantees that he's going to be the state champion, but it seems like he probably will be. So
cool.
All right, well, good stuff. So a little bit of local news we got to talk about, and then we're going to go to a break. DeMarcus Johnson fighting coming up here in Stockholm, Sweden for the UFC, and then also Steve Seiler and Court McGee, both fighting in the same fight show. And did you say it was in Australia?
Yeah. Court put on his Facebook the other day that they're going down to Australia to fight, which is awesome. I think that's so cool.
Here's the thing. You're talking about the UFC here. This is the biggest, stage in the world, and 2 teammates fighting on that same show. That's got to be pretty special.
Oh, it's got to be awesome in the gym, just that energy with 2 guys going, and I couldn't imagine watching those guys train together.
And then, Steve Seiler, he's young. It's his first opportunity. It's nice to have that veteran in the room with you, I think that's got to be good for him.
And traveling that far away from home to go, having somebody like Court McGee with him, all his coaches, it'd be nice for him to – it's going to be nice for him to have his friends there with him. So.
All right, so our poll question for the day is, what is your top story related to mixed martial arts for the year of 2011? And Robertina, how would people call in to participate in this conversation should they be so inclined?
You can call us at 470-570 or 670. Can you hear me?
No, I can't hear you. It's 470-570-670. 1280 is the number, and then we're not going to be able to text you. So, Brandon, what is your biggest story?
I say probably the UFC going on Fox. That's what's really going to take the sport to so many new viewers and get it from the diehard fans and into the everyday household.
Good stuff. I agree with you, and I can't argue that at all. And look, we'd love to have you call in and voice your opinions on that. It's certainly the biggest story of the last part of the year. It's kind of going to have to think back and see what happened earlier in the year, but it's certainly a big story.
Yeah, it was a recent big story. My personal pick for the year, my favorite moment of MMA in 2011 was Chael Sonnen and Anderson Silva fight. Chael Sonnen taking a pounding to him for 4.5 rounds and then
getting triangle choked
out. So
that was good stuff. My favorite was seeing old Sterling Natsuma knocked out Lee Doss.
Well, okay, yeah. I changed. That's my new favorite.
All right, we got all that. We're going to talk about more of this. We're going to get everybody else's pick here. We got all that and more on the Ultimate Combat Radio, brought to you by Aztec Highway when we come back.